I don't rush anymore. Not into conversation, not into affection, and definitely not into love. People say I'm guarded. Maybe I am. But it's not fear that slows me down. It's memory. It's everything I've lived through, and everything I'm not willing to repeat. I've loved before. I've lost before. And I've learned that opening your heart requires more than just desire. It requires discernment. So now, before I let anyone in, I ask myself key questions. Not out loud, not in a journal, but in the spaces most people miss, between a smile and a goodbye. And if you're a man who's lived through enough to hesitate, these questions might be yours too. Will she respect my silence or try to fix it? There were days I barely said a word, not because I was angry, not because I was distant, but because silence to me had become a kind of trust. There was a time when my silence was mistaken for withdrawal. People tried to fill it with stories, jokes, questions, but the more they reached, the more I pulled inward. Not to escape, but to return to myself. I've lived through years of being misunderstood, years of having to explain why I needed space, years of being told, "You're too quiet," or "What's wrong now?" And I'm tired of performing presence for people who fear stillness. These days, silence isn't the absence of connection, it's the proof of it. If I can sit with someone without needing to talk, if I can share a room and feel no pressure to fill the air, that's intimacy to me. So before I let someone in again, I ask myself, will she panic when I go quiet? Will she assume I'm upset? Or will she understand I'm simply home inside myself? Because I'm no longer looking for someone to fix the silence. I'm looking for someone who can sit in it and still feel close. Can she hold space for my past without trying to erase it? There was someone before, not someone I still love, but someone who changed me. I don't talk about her much. Not because I'm hiding anything, but because I know how fragile people can be around memories that don't include them. But the truth is, she shaped me, not just through the pain, but through the lessons. The way I love now, the way I pause before I react, the way I listen instead of rush. I learned those things the hard way. I'm not asking to be applauded for that. I'm just asking, can she see that the man I am is built on all the things I've survived? Too many times I've seen people try to overwrite the past, to compete with it, to pretend it doesn't matter. But I come with stories, and not all of them have happy endings. Some of them have scars. Some still sting when touched. So before I let anyone close again, I need to know, will she try to rewrite my past, or will she sit beside it? Because I'm not looking to be rescued from memory. I'm looking for someone strong enough to respect it, and still stay. Will she expect me to be someone I no longer am? I've been spontaneous before. I've done the big, reckless gestures, late-night confessions, grand romantic speeches. I used to think that's what love was supposed to look like, but over time, I learned that kind of fire burns fast and burns through. Now, I move differently. I speak less, but mean more. I wait longer, but act with purpose. Some people mistake that for being closed off. They call it holding back, but I'm not holding back. I'm holding still. Because the man I used to be, the one who rushed in, trying to be everything, he's tired. I've earned the right to be slow, to be deliberate, to protect what's left of me instead of giving it all away on day one. And so, before I give my heart again, I ask myself, will she expect sparks and spectacle, or will she respect steady and sincere? Because I'm not trying to be impressive anymore. I'm trying to be honest. And if who I am now, quiet, grounded, thoughtful, isn't enough for her, then she's not really in love with me. She's in love with a man I no longer am, and never want to be again. Can she share joy without needing to be the center of it? I've learned to enjoy things quietly. The first sip of coffee before sunrise, a perfectly folded towel, an old jazz record that crackles where it shouldn't, the way sunlight hits the same spot on the floor every afternoon, around 4:30. I don't need anyone to perform happiness for me. I already know what peace feels like. But not everyone understands that kind of joy, the kind that doesn't need to be posted, narrated, or turned into a memory for others to witness. I've had people mistake my contentment for distance, as if stillness meant I was disconnected, as if joy needed a spotlight. What I've been searching for is someone who doesn't interrupt it, not out of malice, but out of the need to feel necessary. I'm not looking for a reason to smile. I'm looking for someone who smiles quietly beside me, not someone who needs every moment to revolve around their presence. So I ask myself, if I find peace in something small, can she witness it without needing to insert herself into it? Because joy, for me, isn't about being dazzled. It's about feeling safe in silence. And if she can't enjoy the world without being the center of it, then she won't understand the way I love. Does she love the man I am, or the version she can imagine shaping? I've been on the receiving end of improvement. It starts soft. You'd be even better if you opened up more. Or, you don't have to be so quiet all the time. And I get it. They mean well. But every time someone tries to shape me, I feel myself disappearing a little. I wasn't always this grounded. I became this way through experience, through mistakes, through reflection, through knowing what peace costs and protecting it with everything I've got. I don't overshare anymore. Not because I'm hiding something, but because I've learned that depth doesn't always come from volume. So when someone enters my life now, I watch carefully. Does she truly see me? Or is she scanning for potential? Does she think she can soften me? Or polish me into something shinier, more charming, more emotionally responsive on demand? Because I'm not a puzzle to be solved, and I'm done auditioning for approval. I don't need fixing. I don't need reshaping. What I need is to be loved exactly as I am. So I ask myself, is she falling for me or her imagined version of me? Because if she's in love with my potential, she'll never stay for my reality. Will she walk beside me or pull me faster than I'm ready to go? I move slowly now, not because I'm afraid, not because I'm unsure, but because I've rushed before, and I know how that ends. I've said I love you too early, made plans too fast, let someone in before they proved they could stay. I've learned that fast isn't always forward. Now, when I connect with someone, I pause, I watch, I listen, not to test them, but to honor the process, because my heart isn't a light switch anymore. It's a gate with a lock forged from past pain. So I ask myself, if I take my time, will she grow impatient? Will she think I'm playing games when I'm really just trying to make sure I don't lose myself again? I don't need pressure. I need patience. Because for me, love isn't a sprint. It's a quiet walk. And what matters most is whether her pace matches mine. Not just in the good moments, but when things slow down, when life gets quiet. I'm not looking for a woman who rushes to the finish line. I'm looking for one who understands that walking beside me, at my rhythm, is the real act of love. Will she shame my needs or honor them? There are things I need now that I never admitted before. I need space, real space. Not just time on the calendar, but emotional room to breathe. Sometimes I go quiet. Sometimes I disappear into work, into music, into long walks with no destination. Not to punish, but to reset. And I've been with women who took that personally, who read my stillness as rejection, who asked, "Why don't you want to talk to me?" When really, I just needed to return to myself before I could show up for someone else. I've also been with women who treated my needs like flaws. "Why are you so distant? Why do you always need to be alone when things get hard?" They weren't questions, they were judgments wrapped in softness. So before I let someone in again, I ask myself, can she honor my needs, even when they're inconvenient? Even when they don't make her feel secure? Because I'm no longer willing to shrink what I need to keep someone else comfortable. I've done that before, and it cost me parts of myself I'm still reclaiming. If she can't meet my silence with grace, if she can't let me take space without guilt, she's not loving me. She's managing me, and I'm done being managed. Can she sit with discomfort, or does she run at the first crack? Love isn't all light. Some days, I'm tired. Some days, I'm short. Some days I go inward and stay there longer than I mean to. Not because I'm moody or broken, but because I'm human. And the truth is, being loved when I'm easy is nice, but being loved when I'm messy, that's what tells me if it's real. I've been with people who vanished at the first sign of discomfort. One hard conversation, and they pulled away. One honest moment, and they panicked. But I don't need someone who disappears when things aren't pretty. I need someone who can hold the moment steady, who can stay in the room even when the air gets thick with truth. So I ask myself, when things get hard, will she stay emotionally present? Or will she make it about her discomfort? Will she hear my truth or try to fix it so she doesn't have to feel it? Because I don't need someone who makes the hard moments go away. I need someone who can sit beside them and not flinch. Will she use my softness against me? I've opened up before, shared things I don't talk about with anyone, stories from childhood, fears I barely admit to myself, the way I still carry certain wounds not because I want to, but because healing takes time. And I've had those same stories thrown back at me, used in arguments, used as evidence, used as leverage. That kind of betrayal changes you. It makes you careful, measured, slow to trust. Now, before I open up again, I ask, if I show her my softest parts, will she hold them? Or will she store them away for later use? Because I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm afraid of being weaponized. It's not that I don't want to share. It's that I want to share without bracing for impact. So when I meet someone now, I don't just look for connection. I look for safety. Because softness, in the wrong hands, gets punished. And I've bled from cuts I handed over willingly. Can she let me lead without fearing she'll disappear? I'm not trying to control anyone, but I do value direction. I've spent decades building a life, learning how to lead gently, make decisions calmly, take responsibility without turning love into a job. And I want a partner, not a rival. Someone who can walk beside me, who can trust my pace, trust my presence, trust the way I move through the world. But that word lead scares some people. They think it means dominance. They think it means I want them to disappear. That's not what I want. What I want is rhythm. Two people, moving in sync. Sometimes I step forward, sometimes she does. But never pulling, never dragging, never proving. So I ask myself, will she see my leadership as a gift or as a threat? Because if she's always fighting to stay in control, there's no room for flow. And without flow, love turns into negotiation. And I'm too tired for constant negotiation. I'm looking for harmony, not hierarchy. And if she can't tell the difference, we'll never last. Is she at war with herself and looking for someone to save her? I've been in that relationship before. The one where I wasn't a partner. I was a lifeboat. She looked whole on the outside. But inside, she was drowning in self-doubt, in insecurity, in a need to be rescued from her own storms. And for a while I thought love meant throwing her a rope every time she sank. But you can't love someone into healing if they're committed to staying broken. I learned that the hard way. Now, when I meet someone, I pay attention to the energy behind her smile. Does she carry her weight, or wait for someone to carry it for her? Because I'm no longer signing up to be someone's savior. I'll stand beside a woman rebuilding herself, but I won't be the one holding her up. I ask myself, is she rooted, or is she reaching? Because if she's still in pieces, she'll only see me as a solution, not a man. And I'm not here to fix. I'm here to build. Will she honor time or chase excitement? These days, my idea of a perfect evening is simple. A slow dinner, a quiet walk, no agenda, no pressure, no performance. But I've met women who saw that kind of life as boring. Who wanted sparks, noise, something new every weekend. Not because they were joyful, but because they were restless. I've done the adrenaline thing, and I've watched it burn through relationships faster than anything else. Now, I value presence over novelty, slowness over stimulation. So I ask myself, can she enjoy quiet mornings with me? Can she appreciate a conversation without a destination? Because I'm not chasing highs anymore. I'm chasing depth. And if she needs excitement to feel alive, she'll never feel settled beside someone like me. Can she argue with love, not with weapons? Every relationship has conflict, but I've learned how someone fights tells you everything. I've been in the kind of love that turned sharp, where every disagreement became a character assassination, where silence was used like a blade, where the truth wasn't spoken, it was thrown. Now, I can't unsee it, and I won't endure it. I'm not afraid of hard conversations. I welcome them, but I need to know, when things get tense, will she choose connection or control? Because I've built peace in my life, and I won't give it up for someone who hasn't learned how to be kind while they're angry. So I ask myself, if we argue, will she fight fair? Will she stay respectful? Or will I leave every disagreement feeling smaller than when it started? I'm not asking for perfection, just emotional maturity. Will she stay if I'm not easy to love every day? There are days I get quiet, days I overthink, days I forget to reach out not because I don't care, but because my mind gets heavy. And I used to beat myself up for that, try to overcompensate, try to be endlessly easy, like a man who never needed anything. But that version of me, he burned out. The truth is, I'm not always effortless. Sometimes I need more patience. Sometimes I fall short. So before I let someone close, I ask, can she stay on the days I don't sparkle? Can she love me through the fog, not just the light? Because real love isn't measured on the good days. It's revealed on the hard ones. And I want someone who doesn't flinch when I'm human. Will I still recognize myself if I love her? There was a time I gave too much. I bent. I compromised. I swallowed my needs until I couldn't feel them anymore. All in the name of love. All because I thought being a good man meant disappearing just enough to keep her happy. But that kind of love, it cost me myself. So now, every time I feel something new beginning, I ask the most important question. If I fall for her, will I still be me? Will I still keep my mornings, my boundaries, my values, mi solitude? Or will I slowly, quietly vanish again? Because I've fought too hard to become this version of me, and I won't lose him just to keep someone else close. If love requires me to forget who I am, it's not love, it's surrender, and I'm done surrendering. Am I ready to be hurt again? This is the quiet one, the question that never gets spoken aloud but always lingers. Because even now, after all the work, after all the clarity, after all the boundaries and healing, there's still risk. Even healthy love can break your heart. Even the right person can leave. Even a well-built life can be shaken. And I'd be lying if I said that doesn't scare me. But here's the truth. I'm not looking for a love that guarantees safety. I'm looking for a love that honors the risk. And when I feel her hand in mine, steady, sincere, I'll know, not that it won't hurt, but that if it does, at least I gave something real a chance. And maybe that's what courage looks like now. Not leaping, not chasing, but standing still and saying, I'm open. I don't love like I used to. I don't fall fast. I don't confuse chemistry with connection. These days I ask quiet questions. I weigh things slowly, because I've learned the cost of giving my heart without clarity. And if you're a man who's been through enough to hesitate, maybe these questions live in you too. If so, just know, you're not broken. You're discerning. And there's nothing weak about loving carefully.